Hey YouTube, this is Gravekeeper. Today I'm going to give my Nationals recap video and my deck list that I ran at the WCQ. This was my first Nationals. It was interesting, it was fun, honestly. I did well, I went plus. But in terms of the actual tournament, it was long, it was exhausting, but I think it was worth the trip. I just wish I did a little better. Um, Honestly, I think I should have done better, but luck is a factor in Yu-Gi-Oh, so that must be taken into account. Um, Through the first 4 rounds, no one really got lucky on me, and I didn't really get lucky on anyone. It was just I drew better overall. First round, I played Sabers. Second round, I played Plants. Third round, Sabers again. Fourth round, Plants again. Fifth round, Plants again, which I expected a lot of. Sixth round, I ended up getting fairies. Seventh round, which I'm surprised I even played. Um, I don't even remember. Probably plants. Eighth round was something, and ninth round I had a really bad Karakuri deck. Little kid did not know what he was doing. I don't know why I bothered staying through those 9 rounds. I just kind of happened to be there. Never looked at my pairings for round 8 or 9. I just happened to be in the right spot. So I was just like, screw it, I'll play. Anyway, I started off 3-1. I wrecked the first Saber deck. I lost to the next plant deck. We went to game 3. I lost like 2 dice rolls the entire day, but it didn't help. By the way, I'm at my school right now, so that explains the setting. My Duel Society, which we have a link to on my Facebook page. You should check it out, St. John's Duel Society. We're also here. We hang out around here. This is St. John's University, D'Angelo Center. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So, I didn't really get sacked in that game against Plants. It was just he drew better in game 3. There's not much I could do. I'll explain the scenario later if I feel like it. Too much. Anyway, then I proceeded to wreck Sabers, Plants, and then, lucky me, I get to face Jerry Wang in round 5. Didn't know who. I did not actually know that I was playing Jerry Wang. He was going under the name of Fang Wang, so that explained the crowd that I had. I had no idea. I made him scoop up game 1, game 2 made, so that was game 2. In game 3, I got him down to 3 outs. I didn't draw anything sooner. I have Necker Valley out. He hasn't seen a spy in 3 games. I was playing Gravekeepers. He hasn't seen a spy in 3 games. Didn't even give me credit. I top deck Fossil Dine. I set it. He has Reborn Tengu out. He looks through my graveyard, goes, Fossil Dino? Attack. I was like, wow. Okay, Jerry. So that goes. I draw. I finally get Dark Bribe. I know he has a warning, which I finally got out of the way by playing one of my secret tech cards. And I'm pretty sure, since he didn't waste a Force or a D-Prison, that it was a Force or a D-Prison set. Set 1, summon my Spear Soldier, end turn. He rips Caius off the top deck for a game. So he had 3 outs, Spore, Bulb, and Caius. I Dark Bribed his Foolish Burial on turn 2, so I'm stopping that play. Anyway, now I'm going to show you the deck that I was running at Nationals, the exact build. Alright, starting off with the monsters. 3 spies, as per usual. That's your bread and butter. 3 commandants. 3 recruiters. Yeah, I actually brought it up to 3 because I just figured I'm going to need a lot of searching power and thinning power for the format because it's going to be too fast. 3 descendants. I figured I'm still going to need the destruction power, so 2,000 beaters was nice. Plus, I was playing deck Devi in the side deck, so having 3 of them was essential. I still played the 1 Assailant because he's just really good. It still helps the plant matchup, but Assailant in and of himself helps me get over some problem monsters. So, still playing the 1 Assailant. Still played the 1 Guard. because guard is just uber broken. It's instead of siding Penguin Soldier, I have a 2400 mini Penguin Soldier. He'll just stay there and becomes descendant fodder. So guard is really good. And here's my main deck tech, 2 Fossil Dinos. I expected a lot of plants, and since I don't special summon a lot, I could abuse Fossil Dyna in the main deck and play like an anti-monster deck or an anti-meta deck. So I did that. It was really helping out. That's how I helped wreck the Sabres and the plant matchups that I had within the first 5-6 rounds. So Fossil Dyna 2, main deck. It might be getting reprinted soon, guys, so I would pick those up, but it's not confirmed 100%. But if it is, it's going in Legendary Collection too. So keep an eye out for that. Fossil Dynas. Really, really good. Now for the spells. 3 Necro Valley, because plants are going to just be way too heavy to only play 2 Necro Valley this format. So plants forced me into 3 Necro Valley. Aside, I was always playing 3. 3 Duality, must. They're getting reprinted, so pick them up while you can. Like, if you want to pimp out your deck, I'd recommend picking these up now, because they're going really cheap, anywhere between like 30 and 60 bucks. So Duality, Trip Duality. Double Royal Tribute. I finally traded off my purple one for a green one. I love this thing. I hate the card itself because it's often so dead, or I'll get a deck that just, you know, has 1 card left in hand and I'll have to neg myself to play it. So it just kind of sits there sometimes, but it's still a must. I had to go back up to 2 Royal Tributes because of plants being in the meta. And when you're expecting high monster counts over so many decks, it's hard to just go main 1, side 1. So I had to play the 2. 2 Stel. I still think 3 is too much and 1 is too little. So 2 Stel, just enough of a plus to go back and reuse Descendant and Recruiter. It's also good to get a late game Spy Guard back to your hand. Book of Moon. I gave in. I decided to play it at 1. So book. And Dark Hole. Finally got my Ultra. Yeah, that's the spells. Now for the traps. Trip Dark Bribe, as usual. I tried going down to 2 to make the deck 40, but I just couldn't do it. I didn't have enough negation power. I was just like, nope, need the Bribe. Bribe was so epic and so good for me this tournament. It would have won me if he didn't, you know, top deck Caius. So yeah. And Dark Bribe now has gone up in price ridiculously. It's going to. When people realized that Dark Bribe was in the winning deck at the U.S. Nationals. So, Dark Bribe, really, really good. And I'll reiterate, this shit stops true nade. Double Warning, staple. Secret Tech, double Magic Cylinder. Forget Deep Prison. Magic Cylinder is just enough. It's so brute. People don't expect it game 1, and then if they don't see it game 1, you don't have to side it out. So you can have it in game 2, and if you win game 1, Magic Cylinder, so unexpected. Save it for game. Save it for game. Unless you absolutely have to use it, save it for game. You're not going to expect it. So good. I made the Saber Kid play around that in game 2. He would not attack it. He misplays, forgets a Dark Soul search, and also brings out Colossal Fighter instead of Scrap Dragon. So I'm like, okay, you've been playing around this since turn 3. I also didn't set it until his Hunley play was over. So keep that in mind. Don't just set the card you get right away. Bait out the plays. I baited out. I waited till he went Hunley before I even set Magic Cylinder. Next, Deep Prison. I decided to play the 1 because, I mean, they expect Deep Prison anyway, so it's still really helpful. Although I think if I look back, I probably would have played this and sided Bottomlesses, but I didn't realize that at the time. So, I don't know. Deep Prison's still really good, but yeah. I played the 1 Deep Prison as opposed to 3 Deep Prison with the Magic Cylinder. I'd rather have them burn themselves out for game. Deep Prison. Then I played Solemn, obvious, staple. Oppression, obvious, staple. Torrential, Mirror Force. And the secret tech to win it all, Ceasefire. I went game and least 4 games and 3 matches with Ceasefire. So good. In that Sabres matchup where he was playing around the magic cylinder, I finally get this set. He decides to set Emmer's Blade at the end, giving me 5 monsters total after I baited out. He was at 3k, baited out the oppression with my spy, set my other monster, wait 2 turns, he sets Emmer's Blade, end phase Ceasefire. GG. Actually, the Ceasefire isn't even in here for burn, so I don't want you guys to think that I'm only trying to burn out for game with the Magic Cylinder Ceasefire. Ceasefire is actually in here for Fossil Dyna. Flip effects are negated with Ceasefire. These aren't flip effects. This happens when it's flipped face up. So what happens is, if I go set Dyna, activate Ceasefire after they have like Tengu and all this random bullshit. It'll double Librarian, Tengu, and Scrap Dragon. Okay, cool. Flip Fossil Dyna. First, they'll burn for all the damage of all the effect monsters, because this is in the middle of resolving when this flips. So, they'll burn. So, let's say like, they lose 25. Then, Fossil Dyna's effect kicks in. Destroy, 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 destroy. And then, Tengu can't be specialed again. Fossil Dyna, Ceasefire, broken play. I didn't get to do that at the tournament, but that's what it was in here for. But I ended up going game every time with this thing. The only time that I didn't get game with this was when I was like, Ceasefire for game. The guy top decked Econ, switched control of his Tengu. He didn't verify to me that he didn't have the other Tengu in the deck. Show me the other one in his hand. So that was, I guess, my fault for not asking about it. But either way, it changed the number to 3. So he only burned for 15 instead of 2k, and then I lost that turn. Doesn't matter. I Ceasefired him for game next turn. Next game. Anyway, that was the main deck that I was running at Nationals, and I was 3-1 through 4, and then Jerry Wang sacks the shit out of me, and then I get CJ Kraus in round 6 playing Fairies, and I open up triple Necker Valley, Stell, Descendant, and Solemn in game 3, and he opened up Close Forest, Cyber Dragon, Thunder King Ryo, Doomcow, Space, and Herald of Orange Light. So he had his entire side deck. Yeah, so that was really bad for me. The extra deck I had was Ultimate Accent Kicker for Psychics. There were a bunch being played. Materia Exterior for the Beast Barkion. Equest for Sams. Supreme Arcanite for Librarian. Double Cyber for Malefic Cyber in my side. Android, Rose, Arcanite, Double Stardust, Scrap Dragon, Mistworm. I also had a 0 and Shining in the extra deck, but I was borrowing those. So that was my extra deck for Nationals. My side deck was double Puppet Plant for Mirror Match, and very, very rarely would I play it on Sam's because most of them are going to go D Fisher. So double Kinetic for Sam's and Gemini Beat. TK Ryo for Sam's and just various other matchups that it would have been appropriate for, like TGs. 1 Malefic Dust, 1 Malefic Cyber End. They just help get over everything, and this helps protect my field spell. So if people want to actually play Close Forest over Necker Valley, I still have something to be able to beat them over with. The Spear Soldier for the plants, as I've explained many times before. This was a 3rd Dyna, and I realized it was stupid because it was clogging space, and I hardly ever sided it in. So, a Dyna, but I'm changing that up, and a Veiler. I didn't really want to play the Veiler, but I wanted to. So, that was that for the monsters. Then I played Super Poly. That explains a lot of the stuff in the extra deck, because it's going to be so good against Librarian. Double MST, because I really needed the destruction. Against, like, Mirror Match and TGs. So, double space. And then for the traps, decked heavy, added more targets when I played in Spear Soldier and the 2 Malefics. And Malevolent Catastrophe. People ask why or how can I play with this card in my deck. It's just really easy. You put in the Mirror Match, you set it out, you wait for it, you can bait it out, play Mirror Force, you chain, and then you don't lose anything. And then if they solemn it, you bribe it. So don't be afraid to waste a resource on that. You won't always need the Necker Valley and the Mirror Match. So Malevolent Catastrophe is really good if you can learn to play around it. Anyway, that's what I ran at Nationals. Jerry Wang sacked the shit out of me. Otherwise, I would have done better. Anyway, I don't want to